PJ just bit Wally's face.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's get this rolling. I love these shows. They're so much fun. Here we go.
After speaking our minds. Yeah. I don't follow lines, I don't play it safe. Got a mind that runs in a different way. Say what I think, yeah, I mean what I say. If it goes off track, well, that's okay. No script, no plan, no filter tonight. Just real talk coming straight, no disguise. We're off the rails, yeah, on purpose. Say it loud, don't rehearse it. No rules here, no disguise. Just the truth in real time. Off the rails, no apologies. Take it how it's gotta be. If it shakes things up, that's fine. We're just speaking our minds. You can watch, you can stay, you can walk away, but I'm not here trying to make it safe. Little chaos never scared me yet. If it gets too real, don't place your bets. We're off the rails, yeah, on purpose. Say it loud, don't rehearse it. Yeah. No filter, no script, no lies. Just real talk. Every time.
Okie dokie. Smoky pokey. Hold on. So, what's your day like today, Miss Victoria? Secrets?
I don't know. My day so far is just talking to you.
Cool. That's a good
Yep,
day.
yep.
Good
I
day
just right
hanging
there.
with friends.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. 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 So,
That
what's
is
going
it.
on your side of the planet?
We got some fires out here.
Oh, crap. That's right. Do you have any
Mm,
articles on that, possibly?
No, you just woke me up. Oh my God.
Literally. I just woke you up. Yes.
I'm telling you, you know
Yep.
you did.
Yep.
No, I don't have any here. There's none here in California right now. They're up in Oregon.
Mm.
Um, where Tim's at, but
Oh, crap.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, let's see, when I talked to him last night, they were like, well, before then he was like 15 miles away, but he said that they had turned
Oh,
and he couldn't see the flames anymore. Just,
oh,
but he could see
thank
the red.
God.
Yeah, yeah,
That's scary.
yeah.
Ew, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
I wouldn't want to be that close. Definitely not.
Yeah, that's a little too close.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
I don't like that. Okay, so, hold on one second. Boy, I'm so unprofessional. I love it.
I didn't think we had to be professional.
Yeah, we're not being paid, so yeah.
You're right.
We're just here to have fun. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay.
Entertain. Remember, entertain.
Yeah, yeah. So let's play another song
Yeah.
if it will pop up. Nope, it's not gonna pop up. Okay, here we go. 86. This is a new trucker song that just came out on Fake Book.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I love their songs. They're awesome. Whoops, dummy. It twitched. I twitched and shut it off.
Found an old cardboard box today, tucked behind a shelf in the garage.
Oh,
Inside were three
that's
letters.
fine.
Every one of them had my name on it. Every one signed me. First one said, Dear John, you're 35 tonight, rolling west through Tennessee under dashboard light. You got a full tank of diesel and a head full of plans, trying to build a future with those hard-working hands. You think another paycheck's gonna fix what's broke. You think sacrifice is just part of the road. But your little girl cried when you missed her birthday cake. And son, some memories money just can't replace. I folded up the letter and stared through the glass, watching 40 years of highway coming back. I spend my life chasing one more load, one more mile down one more road, one more payment, one more year, one more promise to the people I hold dear. Thought I was building something they could be proud of someday. Never saw how much of life was slipping away. The second letter came from me at 55 years old. It said, Your hair turned gray, but your heart stayed young. The house got paid for, that old truck's still rolling. I feel like I have almost won. But tomorrow doesn't seem any closer. I would retire if I could. Your grandson asked about the stories from the road, about snow-covered mountains and overloaded loads. But what he really wants is time sitting next to you. And that ain't something money can buy when you're through. The words hit harder than a January storm, like a cold wind cutting through an old man's bones. I spend my life chasing one more load, one more mile down one more road, one more payment, one more year, one more reason not to disappear. Thought tomorrow would always wait on me, but tomorrow ain't the guarantee I believe. I remember truck stop coffee at 3 a.m., white lines running underneath those headlights again. I remember thinking I'd slow down someday. Funny thing about someday,
Never comes.
it keeps moving away. The last letter didn't have an age, no date, no explanation, just one page. It said, Dear John, if you're reading this and I need you to hear me, go to church. Take the vacation, make the call, spend the weekend at home, watch the ball game, hold her hand, tell your family you love them. 'Cause I spent my whole life believing I had more time, and I was wrong. You don't make it to retirement. I spent my life chasing one more load, one more mile down one more road, one more dream park beyond the hill. Never knowing life was happening still. If you hear this, don't make my mistake. The road will always be there. The people you love might not wait. I turned the page over. Nothing else was written. Just a signature. Love. The man you become.
Yeah, it's a lonely road out there for truckers.
Wow.
Not good. Yes, it's good. You just gotta not be afraid. Can't be afraid of being alone.
That's true.
Yeah. And here's a new um, cover song that I found by Laszlo Burring. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. This is really cool. He almost looks like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, he does.
As if it were played by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Okay. Oh, it is him. Okay, it's just a picture. Okay. Dirt.
Yeah, look at his guitar, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Sweet or what? Absolutely love Stevie Ray Vaughan. Can't get enough of them. Let's see. Studio C. And a little bit of weather.
This service is part of a program they're running to connect homeowners with professional.
Fox Weather is your Hurricane HQ. We're staying locked in on Tropical Depression 2 as we anxiously await what could be our next named storm of the season, as we take a look at St. Petersburg, Florida. And that is one spot that we'll continue to watch for the potential for some flooding due to the tropical storm watches that we have in place for the Florida Gulf Coast. Let's check in on the ground. That's where we have Fox Weather's Haley Meyer. She joins us live in Clearwater Beach, Florida, tracking the latest developments. So, Haley, what do you make of this?
You know what? It's unsurprising. The National Hurricane Center, they've really been hot on the trails of what is now TD2 for a while, and I feel like they've really been escalating the messaging purely because I think the models have also been escalating the scenarios. The bottom shelf tier is that we don't even break into a tropical storm. I think at this point it's almost a guarantee that we get a tropical storm out of this. But then some of the upper echelon solutions with some of our more outlying models does bring this up to a hurricane force. Now, I think Brian said it perfectly, that it's not a guarantee that we could get anything up to hurricane force. It's all a matter of what does the interaction with land look like. And right now it seems like it's going to have too much of a close call with parts of the Florida Panhandle, but then also for parts of southern Louisiana that should limit its development, that coupled with wind shear. So good news is, the hope is we're only dealing with a tropical storm. Storm surge at this point 1 to 3 feet, and that would be north of the Tampa area, but it isn't a very storm surge prone part of Florida. You're thinking about Florida's Big Bend. They have a shelf that gets up there. Just thinking about the topography of what the water looks like, or the bottom of the ocean floor, and because there's a little bit of a shelf, it actually does instigate some extra storm surge there as well. So about 1 to 3 feet, but when you consider how high waters have risen in that part of Florida over the last 3-4 years. I mean, it was a target. They had, what, 3 hurricane landfalls back to back to back one year. 1 to 3 feet really is not a big deal to them, and as Brian pointed out, it's more so of a slight water rise. Here for the Tampa, Clearwater, Dunedin area, I was actually here throwing out a first pitch for a baseball game and to talk about their rain delay jerseys, so I would have been in Clearwater, the Tampa area, with or without this tropical entity, but you know what? Mother Nature always likes to make a joke out of things, right? So I'm here. I can kill 2 birds with one stone, but we are in that drier air pocket, which is why we've been on and off. I've been putting my rain boots on for a second, taking them off, the raincoat on, taking it off, because we've gotten these little spurts of rain. It's been very light, but we do have a couple of thunderstorms, and they're building behind me, actually. So we still have some people that are hanging out at the beach. I hesitate to say I wouldn't do a full beach setup, just in case you do have a strong storm that comes in. It might take a long time to tear it down, but I don't see the harm in coming out to the beach for maybe a couple of hours if the weather is holding out. But notice you have some tall, towering thunderstorms, which is showing you more of an intense updraft. Off the coast is where we've actually seen more of the lightning. I haven't visually seen lightning, at least in my range of view. However, I have seen lightning on the radar signature, so showing that, hey, maybe 20-30 miles offshore, that's where we're getting some of the more convective, intense thunderstorms. The thing that we have to watch out for today is the flash flood potential, right? Especially for these more urban populated areas. With the available moisture we have in Florida, the deep convection you can get with a tropical entity that's starting to become more defined, some of these feeder bands can set up and they can drop heavy rain for hours, and that would be the concern of some areas seeing upwards of 6 inches. Right now, just in looking at the National Hurricane Center's discussion with the latest advisory that they just issued, it's anywhere between 2 to 4 inches widespread, and even that I feel like is still going to be a little bit more minute impacts, but one spot could get upwards of 8 inches, and in a low-lying area, that is Florida, very prone to flooding, 8 inches could be enough to trigger a problem, but it's really the west coast of Florida that's seeing more of the significant impacts. So apologies to anybody who planned a vacation this week. The good news is that while this will start to pull off towards the north and northeast, Florida will get some dry time in, especially as we head into the weekend. So it's not a total loss for folks who are trying to make their way out to the Sunshine State for the middle part and latter half of July, but definitely keeping a close eye on southern Mississippi, southern Alabama. At this point, we're stopping at the Alabama border. We're getting close with those tropical storm watches, but it was explicitly stated in the National Hurricane Center's update that watches and warnings and other advisories are likely going to be expanding and changing over the next few days as we wait for the evolution of Bertha, which, because the NHC has been a little bit more on top of this storm, they've been quick to issue from the area to watch, then to become an invest, and then now looking at TD2. I do think we'll possibly be talking about Bertha before the end of the day today, but at the bare minimum, it does look like Bertha will be here come tomorrow. So all things that we're just keeping an eye on out across the Clearwater Beach area, but we're kind of in the better spot for Florida compared to some of you a little bit further north. That's where conditions are going to be deteriorating even more so.
Yeah, we just talked to Brian, and he was in the dry conditions. He said it was nice over there. Obviously, not the same story if you're on the western side of things. And I can't help but notice the kids that are playing behind you. You know what? Just wanting some nice beach weather. But for some folks, that's just not going to be the case. Well, Haley, thank you so much for that update, joining us from Clearwater Beach.
A foster mom with
15 dogs? Whoa. And I had a lot.
Hey.
Yeah, so here comes our hurricane season. Yay, yucky me. Not a good thing. Yeah, close off. So, how's your weather besides you don't get the winds, right?
I know we get winds, but we don't get hurricanes.
Right, but are you getting any of the smoke?
No, Well, I take that back. You know what? Yeah, we are. We've got some coming from up north because you can smell it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's hazy. I don't have a blue sky. It's hazy, but it's got humidity with it, and it's awful.
Right.
You know, it just the humidity it screws everything up for me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get back into it, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, you get rusty when you don't do this every day. Good Lord.
Absolutely everything that I've been telling you and preparing you for the last 3.5 years is happening right now in real time. Watch this. As you know, in just the past couple of weeks alone, I've proven some very crazy things that are happening in the Pacific Ocean right now, around the Dragon's Triangle, and all around that area in which military naval buildup is insane. Well, the world has been preparing you for these moments for a long time. In movies like The Pacific Rim, where a big beast rises out of an abyss out of the bottom of the ocean, come onto lands and cities, and so man makes machine to fight back with, right? Well, here. It's also seen in the Mechazords, which fight the beast and giant insect creatures that come out of the ocean onto the cities as well. Same thing with Transformers, but let me show you right now what's taking place as of May this year. I want you to think hard about all the other things that happened in May and June and July of this year as well, because guess what China did in May? They started Project Mick Jagger. You know, like the Jaegers in Pacific Rim, in which now they have built 66,000 pound, 33 ton, there's your 66 and 33, humanoid robots, explicitly named after the movie Mechs. And they're even doing the drift, exactly like the Pacific Rim, in which the creator wears a motion capture suit and the robotic mirrors the body's movements in real time, scaling human actions into massive mechanical forces. But just wait. Read this. In mid-2026, robotics company Unitree, like Unicron off of Transformers, officially moved giant mechs out of the realm of science fiction by launching the GD01, the world's first mass-produced civilian man-rideable mech. You got it. Japan is doing the exact same thing. Pay attention to what part of the world this is taking place. You have whatever that word is, and their new 3.5 ton palleted robot. You already know about SpaceX and their Optimus, like Optimus Prime, the one that fights also the big monsters. Yep, they're doing it too. Light bulb should have went off your head when you saw this happen. When they made the first giant arms to catch the rocket and literally named it Mechazilla. You know, the government-made robot that fights the giant Godzilla in real life in the movie. I'm gonna close out this video by letting you watch 2 clips that should truly open your eyes. Prepare yourself. That's all I can say. How? Well, by warning others according to Ezekiel 33 and getting your household right, knowing that you're saved from second death. Therefore, you should fear nothing this world has to toss at you in the first.
I didn't shut off the sound, by the way. No. What do you think of that?
I think that's some crazy crap right there.
Godzilla coming out of the ocean?
Yeah. It's like that start.
Yeah. Scary.
Mm-hmm.
The monsters out of the abyss.
Yeah. Well, they're down there. There's 4 of them.
Yeah, yeah. That's what the Bible says.
Yes, it does.
Yep. And just to back up that guy. No,
Namo
no,
Buddhasa,
no, no,
Namo
no,
Dhammasa.
that wasn't it. What did I do with that? Anyway, I screwed that up. His can't remember how to say his name.
Those the monks?
Yeah, Bhikkhu Panyakara
Okay.
at the UN. This is 20 minutes, as you can see. So, time to make breakfast.
Right.
Namo Sanghasa. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ambassadors, respected Mahasangha, respected religious leader, representatives of the United Nations, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. I humbly offer my greeting to all of you on this sacred occasions of the International Day of Vesak. Today, we gather here at the United Nations to honor the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing away of our Lord Buddha, a being whose message of wisdom, compassion, mindfulness, and peace continue to guide humanity more than 2,600 years later. I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the permanent missions of Sri Lanka and Thailand, to the United Nations for organizing this meaningful commemoration, and to all nations and participants present here today. Vesak is not only a celebration for Buddhists, it is also an opportunity for humanity to reflect deeply upon the condition of our world, our societies, and most importantly, the conditions of our own hearts and mind. In today's world, technologies and science have made remarkable developments. We can communicate across continents within seconds. We can cure diseases that were once fatal. We have built a powerful system of great complexity and efficiency. Yet, despite all of this progress, many people continue to suffer deeply. We see conflict amongst nations, divisions among communities, fear among neighbors, loneliness amongst individuals, and emotional suffering quietly carry within millions of hearts. Many people long for peace, yet struggle to find peace within themselves. This is why the teachings of the Buddha remain profoundly relevant today. The Buddha taught that peace does not begin in governments or institutions alone. Peace begins within the human mind. A restless mind creates sufferings. An angry mind creates divisions. A fearful mind creates harm. But a compassionate mind creates healing. A mindful heart creates understanding, and a peaceful individual can help transform families, communities, and even nations. In Buddhism, we are taught that hatred cannot end hatred. Only compassion can end hatred. Only understanding can overcome fear. And only wisdom can guide humanity away from suffering. This truth remains as important today as it was thousands of years ago. In our modern world, many people are searching for happiness in external things, status, wealth, recognition, or power. Yet, often even after achieving these things, the hearts remain unsettled. Why? Because lasting peace cannot be purchased. It cannot be forced. It must be cultivated carefully through mindfulness, compassion, patience, and loving kindness. Peace is not passive. Peace is a practice. Peace is how we speak to one another. Peace is how leaders use their influence. Peace is how communities care for the vulnerable. Peace is how we treat all beings and nature itself. A peaceful world cannot be created by hearts filled with anger, greed, or hatred. For this reason, inner transformation is not separate from global transformation. They are deeply connected. When we heal ourselves, we begin to heal the world around us. Peace must become action. Peace must walk among the people. Step by step, person by person, nation by nation. Peace is built gradually through conscious actions. No lasting peace can emerge from hatred or violence. True peace is built through understanding, patience, dialogue, and compassion. Today, our world also faces another challenge, disconnection. Although humanity is more digitally connected than ever before, many people feel emotionally isolated. We have witnessed this many times at our temple in Fort Worth, Texas, and as well as on our walk for peace. Young people especially are growing up in a world filled with noise, pressure, competition, and constant distraction. Many for meaning. Many are silent, struggling with anxiety, loneliness, and hopelessness. This is why compassion and mindfulness are no longer optional values for humanity. They are essential. If we teach children only how to compete, but not how to care for one another, we risk creating a productive yet suffering world. We must teach future generations not only intelligence but mindfulness, not only ambitions but kindness, not only achievement but humanity. This responsibility belongs not only to governments or religious institutions, it belongs to all of us. Every parent, every teacher, every leader, every community, every nation. The Buddha's teachings remind us that every human being possesses the capacity for compassion, regardless of nationality, religions, race, language, or social status. All people wish to live free from suffering. All people wish to feel safe, valued, and loved. For this reason, interfaith understanding and mutual respect are deeply important in our world today. Different traditions may use different words, symbols, and practice, yet many spiritual paths ultimately encourage compassion, peace, humanity, service, and respect for life. We must learn not only to tolerate one another, but to genuinely listen to one another. Our future depends upon our ability to recognize our shared humanity. The world does not need more hatred. The world does not need more greed. The world does not need more violence. The world needs compassion. The world needs wisdom. The world needs healing. The world needs peace. As Buddhists, we are also reminded to extend compassion beyond humanity itself. We must protect nature. We must care for the animals. We must recognize the deep interconnection of all life. From a Buddhist perspective, all sentient beings share the experience of fear, pain, and the desire to live. Animals, like humans, seek safety, comfort, and freedom from suffering. Yet in many parts of the world today, countless animals endure suffering through neglect, exploitation, and unnecessary harm. An industrial system of food production, experimentation, and entertainment often treat animals as objects rather than living beings. When we reflect deeply, we begin to see that compassion cannot be selective. If compassion is genuine, it naturally extends beyond human boundaries. To cultivate kindness towards animals is not separate from cultivating kindness towards humans. It is part of the same moral and spiritual development. When we harm other beings unnecessarily, we also lose our own sensitivity. When we protect life, we refine our awareness and strengthen our capacity for empathy. The Buddha's teachings of non-harming invites us to expand our circle of care as widely as possible, to understand that all life is interconnected is true wisdom. Caring for animals is therefore not a secondary concern. It is part of cultivating a peaceful world. A society that respects life in all its forms is a society that moves closer to true harmony. At the same time, our responsibility extends to the environment that sustains all beings. The earth is not separate from us. It is the condition to our survival. When nature is degraded, all beings suffer. When ecosystem collapse, human society also become unstable. When humanity lives without mindfulness towards the environment, suffering eventually follows for all beings. Please know that caring for the earth is also an act of great compassion. Today, here at the United Nations, I believe there is still reason for hope. Hope exists whenever human beings choose kindness over hatred. Hope exists whenever nations choose dialogue over conflict. Hope exists whenever communities come together in mutual respect. And hope exists whenever humanity remembers that peace begins within. On this sacred day of Vesak, may we reflect not only upon the enlightenment of the Buddha, but also upon our own responsibility to bring greater compassion into the world. And so during the peace walk in the United States and the Sri Lanka, the message that I always share is always about peace and mindfulness. After all these, if we cannot cultivate on mindfulness, if we cannot practice mindfulness, in this busy world, we are way too busy chasing the outside world, chasing the materialities and so on. For that reason, we've forgotten ourselves. And we always react when things happen. When anything happens to us, we always react with hatred, with anger. That is why we suffer. And in order for us to end this suffer, there is no other ways besides practicing mindfulness to manage our emotion. Once we be able to manage our emotion, sufferings will be softened. If we can just take 1 hour per day to practice the breathing in and out within our nostril, aware of each breath going in and out, and be mindful with all thoughts, all words, and actions throughout the day, our days will be so much meaningful and beautiful. Let's say if we are working every single day in the office, at least 8 hours per day of working. We can also practice mindfulness while we work. Let's say 1 hour passed by of working. You can just take 1 minute, close your eyes and relax and cultivate on that breathing. Be mindful with each breath going in and out. Just 1 minute, and then go back to work. And then every hour passed by, just take 1 minute to do that. And do one thing at a time instead of multitasking ourselves. If we can do that every day, and plus, our mind is like a monkey that I always share that if we have nothing for the mind to do, it will pick up all the trash to chew it over and over. Trash are those angry things, unhappy, suffer, so on. Those I call trash because they are not usable, they are not beneficial for us. When our mind is empty, it's automatically picking up all those trash to think it over and over. That is when we are overwhelmed with thoughts and then we suffer. For that reason, I encourage all of us and all the people in this world to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't for Buddhists, it's for all beings, all human beings who practice, because it's within our breath. So every day in the morning when we wake up, if we let ourselves using the cell phone, doing something else without practicing the mindfulness, then our day will be just back to normal, back to the old days again. But if when we wake up in the morning, we make our bed, and then we write out the message, the statement, say, today is going to be my peaceful day. A very simple statement, but it's very powerful that it reminds us throughout the day. Today is going to be my peaceful day. Just get a piece of paper and a pen out and write that down. After you write that down, use our eye to read it over and over. When our eyes and our mind is pairing with each other, that is when we practice mindfulness. And then after reading that with our eyes, now we read it out loud with our mouth to tell the universe that today is going to be my peaceful day so that no one in this world can mess it up. No one can mess it up except ourselves. If we choose our day to be peaceful, regardless of what coming towards us, if we still be able to manage our emotion, our day will still be peaceful. Let's just say all the human beings in this nation, in this universe, in this world, repeat this message every single morning. What's gonna happen if all of us spread that peace message to the universe? It's because we've been spreading hate, we've been spreading anger, hatred, delusion, greedy, and so much to the universe. That is why we receive back with all kinds of disasters. Disaster is not ended yet. It's still increasing every single day if we are not mindful and we still spreading hate and delusion and anger to the universe. For that reason, if we all can just practice this one simple statement every single morning, today is going to be my peaceful day. If we can just say that out loud to the universe, and I truly believe that universe will receive that energy and shower back down with love and kindness and peace. That is when this world will be bloom with peace and flourish throughout this universe. So I wish that during this Vesak day, this message, the message of mindfulness that the Buddha taught us for a very long time, now is the time for all of us to reflect that, take that into action, to shape our life, to shape our families, our neighbors, community, our nation, and our world. Peace can only spread once we are mindful, once we are at peace. We cannot expect the world to be at peace when we are filled with angers and delusions. So let us all practice this statement every day to make our day peaceful and to make our nation, our world be at peace. Namo Buddhaya. Thank you.
What do you think of that, Vicki?
I think he's, I think he promises the same thing every time he speaks.
Yes, he does. But some people haven't heard it, and it is an important message.
Oh, and he firmly believes it too.
Mm-hmm.
They practice that and they believe that. And I think there's a good possibility that if we did, we would also.
Right. Right.
It's up to each individual person.
Yep. Yep. Okay. I saw this on Facebook last night. Ricky Roush took a video of the fireworks by his boat and posted it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's so pretty.
Oh, cool.
Look at the stars.
Hold on.
Look how they shine.
Wrong one.
What the hell was that?
I know, right? It should be 98. But let's see if it's here. Nope. All right, I know what I gotta do. I gotta... Gotta refresh because I threw it in there last minute.
Okay.
There we go. No, I don't want to share. Done. Slideshow. Hurry, Ricky, I'm fucking up your video.
All right. Happy Waterfest.
Oh, this is by his boat, huh?
Yeah.
Dang.
I like how they reflect off of the water like that.
Uh-huh.
And I do wish they'd make fireworks without those bangs.
You're right.
What's the necessity of that?
Yeah.
That looked like a spider.
Oh. Cool.
He has otters that go up to visit on the dock. That must be so cool. I'd be out there playing.
Yeah, me too.
Alright. There we go.
Clean off the phone camera lens.
Oh.
Ahoy!
I like fireworks. I just don't like leaving
Yeah,
my
me
dog.
too.
Yeah, I just don't like leaving my dogs alone when they
Right.
have them. But I had 3 neighbors this year that shot them off,
Huh.
so that was good for me.
Yeah.
Poor dogs shook like a leaf.
Right. I know.
I like those big ones.
Wow.
Those remind me of like infinity mirrors.
Uh-huh.
Whoa. Ooh. Oh.
I like the ones that spiral and whistle at the same time.
Yeah.
They're launching these right across the river there next to the bridge.
Oh, I love fireworks. Except for the bangs. Burp.
I also like them when they're over.
Hmm?
I also like them when they're over.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything you do.
What is it?
Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you,
Oh, wow.
and all the things you do. And it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn.
Notice how small the wings
Oh,
are.
what a thing to have done.
Damn.
And it was all yellow.
Huh.
Did you ever see one of those?
Those are moths, right?
Yeah, it's a lunar moth.
Yeah, those look icky.
Oh, I love them. I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah, I haven't.
I think they're pretty. Oh, right. I wanted to see something on YouTube. Um, of course, I won't be able to find it now, right?
Right.
Let's see. It always happens.
Of course, it's too busy to fucking. Oops, sorry. Sorry, Vicki.
Tornado Alley is moving. Yikes, okay. Oh, here it is. This is a James video,
Uh-huh.
and it's usually
Klondike hits you with brutal cold. Can you survive?
Weird stuff.
Build a warm camp.
So the alien situation just got way weirder. You know it, I know it. Your doc knows it, my mom knows it, everybody knows it, but no one knows what exactly is going on. For the past few weeks, sightings both in North and South America have been amping up really quick.
Hey Mo, I know I'm not tripping. That's what the going on in the sky?
Que porra é essa, bicho? Puta que pariu.
We've got multiple people seeing different kinds of objects. Some of them resemble the orbs that we saw in 2024. Right now, we're seeing a bunch of them in Curitiba, Brazil, and many other places. Others resemble drone-like objects pretty similar to what we saw in New Jersey, but they're different.
Oh my god.
But here's where things get really wild. A few days ago, this account posted this. A leaked picture of the supposed alien that crashed in Varginha, Brazil. The problem is, the image detector says it's not AI. And if this is actually a real picture, it would actually change everything we thought we knew about the universe. But it actually gets weirder.
Look at that. There's day. Daytime.
Do you hear that?
Those are black clouds.
The same week CERN was shut down, several videos started popping up all over social media of a strange phenomenon in the sky.
How does it sound?
Skyquakes, a phenomenon that remains a mystery to this day, but since April this year, several people have been reporting them all across the world. Now this is around the same time we had meteors crashing down this year, increased solar activity, and earthquakes. Lots of them. And this is when I saw a pattern.
People are now starting to hear these really scary and loud noises all across the sky. Scientists have considered that the booms may be meteors exploding in the atmosphere, military testing, or even related to storms or earthquakes.
In 2024, we had record-breaking skyquakes followed by earthquakes, and then the alien situation. This is when it all started. And now we're seeing the same thing. So what if this is not a coincidence? What if these objects are responding to these events? What if these mysterious skyquakes, they're not some sort of earthly phenomena? What if there's something else? Let's try to find out and begin with the basic, and that would be the most recent sightings. Now before we get into the video, booking a doctor's appointment should be easy, but somehow always becomes one of those things we keep putting out. You think, I'll deal with it tomorrow, then tomorrow becomes next week, and before you know it, you're calling different offices, sitting on hold, trying to figure out who accepts your insurance, only to find out the next appointment might not be available for months. I've personally been delaying a few checkups for that exact same reason. I already know that finding the right doctor can mean spending hours searching, calling around, and comparing different options. That's why ZocDoc, the sponsor of today's video, is so useful. ZocDoc makes it easy to search for and compare local and network doctors all in one place. You can check out detailed doctor profiles, read reviews from real patients, and see available appointment times without having to guess. ZocDoc has more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states and over 200 specialties. Once you find a doctor who feels the right fit, you can book the appointment directly through ZocDoc. Many appointments are available within 24 to 72 hours, and sometimes you can even find for the same day. Best of all, ZocDoc is completely free to use, so stop leaving it at the bottom of your to-do list. Click the link in the description and head to ZocDoc.com/James to find a doctor and finally get that appointment booked. And a huge thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring today's video and for making it easier for us to stay on top of our health.
Alright, Chewy. I have some other questions.
Now let's get back to the video. So around June 5th, this account posted this video coming in from Curitiba, Brazil. Let's take a look at this.
Que porra é essa, bicho? Puta que pariu. Meu Deus do céu.
This is in Curitiba, Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. At the time I thought this could be a fake video because it's a 10-second video, it's too short, easily faked. Then I start searching more and I find this. Posted on June 16th by this account, a pretty similar video of the same objects. Now looking at it from this angle, I'm thinking that this is possibly some parachuting stunt or something like this.
At night?
But I could be wrong, and maybe these are the same type of orbs that we were seeing last year. In other videos also of Curitiba, we can see similar things. So I did search for parachuting stunts in Curitiba that time and I didn't find anything. But I did find this video also in Brazil, recorded one day prior. Check this out. So there's a few moments here in this video that we can see what appears to be the clouds passing in front of this object, so it seems as if it's behind the clouds. Look at that. You can see the clouds passing in front of it. That's pretty strange, and this is in Brazil one day prior to the Curitiba sightings, so this is weird. If we fast forward to July 3rd, we have this video posted by this account, Salvatore Zavale. Let's take a look at it. That's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
This is actually crazy. But I think I've seen this video before. This could be a repost. Let's take a look at the account. Yeah, so it seems like a bunch of reposts. Could be an old video. Posted 2 days ago by this Reddit account, fast moving light above London. Is it a drone? Let's take a look at this. What is that?
Might be a drone.
No, there's no way. That is so fast.
What happened there? I think it disappeared. This specific point, it just picks up speed and it seems to go really fast, I think faster than a drone, and it kind of vanishes into the clouds. Whatever this thing is, it's really similar to the things that we were seeing last year. And then just a day ago in San Diego, California, we have this.
There you go, Vicki.
Yep.
Oh wow. What is that? Is this a stunt?
Right.
What exactly is this? I mean, it could be one of those stunts, or it could be one of those fireballs once again. So this was basically in San Diego. Let's take a look at this.
Zigzagging like that? I don't think
Look
so.
here. This isn't just an ordinary
that's
denture,
gross.
but the globally popular Flexible Smart Custom Denture Kit.
So we have parachute demonstration on July 4th. Could be the case. Recorded a few days ago by this account, I think in Mexico. Let's take a look at this.
¿Cómo la acerco más? Mira, se ve borroso. Esa vaina se está acercando para acá. Sape gato, chamo. Fin del mundo, pues. Mira. Mira cómo dio la vuelta, ¿viste? Dando la vuelta, la luz esa se volteó.
Wow, that's just
What in the world is that?
irritable.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? Eso no es normal, eso no es un globo. Eso tiene luces, mira.
I guess
not
the
sure if
young
it's
people
moving.
would not know
Viste la
what
luz.
that is.
Y está dando como vuelta.
Seen so many of those, it's not funny. They're
Se
not aliens.
desaparece.
Yeah, if it disappears, I'm gonna freak out. Yeah, so I'm thinking this is possibly a blimp. It's just too big, it's not moving at all. This was on July 4th, so I'm just thinking that this is possibly a blimp or something like that. But I could be wrong.
Que alguien me diga qué es esto, porque sape gato.
Then I got this one on July 1st, so there's a lot of sightings happening around this month. This was again in Brazil.
Muito estranho.
Oh wow.
Olha, ele tá aqui nessa luzinha bem fraquinha aqui agora, de novo. E começa a rajar.
I don't think those are balloons. No.
Não, por enquanto é só as bolinhas que tá aqui. Isso não é balão. Faz tempo que ele tá fazendo isso. Agora sim, agora ele subiu. Olha ele acendendo de novo.
Yeah, that's really weird.
De novo.
Oh wow.
Cara, não é balão não.
That's really weird.
Já é a 7ª vez já. Fora a altura. Mas aquilo não é balão não. Não é balão. Balão não raja desse jeito, fica jogando fogos no céu. Olha lá. Amor, que negócio sinistro. Mano, tá mais perto.
Wait a minute, this is in Mauá, so it looks like the same thing seen in Curitiba. What the heck is that? So I'm guessing that this was recorded around this place, Mauá, the Serra. And this is actually pretty close to Curitiba, so I'm guessing that this is possibly the same object. Fast forward to just a couple of days ago, you have this pretty amazing sighting by Manuel A. Molina in Bellflower, California.
We're gonna die. We're gonna die.
What exactly is that? So to me it's pretty clear that there's a lot of sightings happening alongside with earthquakes and other types of phenomena. But one that caught my attention was this.
Look at that. There's day. Daytime.
hear that?
Those are black clouds.
About 5 days ago, this account posted a video of supposed skyquake in Oklahoma. Now, even though I didn't find the original source of the video, I started searching and I found more. Posted 4 days ago by this account in Louisville, we have the same thing going on.
How does it sound?
Yeah, I've heard those.
Say that again?
I've heard those a couple of times.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Is it real loud?
It is loud. I always thought it was the high school band club that's over here at the high school, but it was during times where it wasn't them. I know.
Right. Wow. See,
yeah, you can almost feel them.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Scary.
Yeah, but once I realized what it was, it kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
Y'all tell me if I'm crazy, but y'all hear this, right? This is insane. The walls are shaking. That's crazy.
We don't know what a skyquake is. It's a mysterious phenomenon that to this day remains unexplained. Theories range from seismic activity, solar flares, exploding meteors, and the list goes on. So this is kind of curious because we've been seeing lots of these events happening lately. And alongside with that, we have the alien situation. So is it possible that these events are somehow connected? Researching a bit into skyquakes and how it all started, it's curious how in 1896, the same year we had a distinct and widely noted skyquake in New York, we also had a massive wave of sightings across the United States, before the invention of motorized airplanes. So you see, this is not the first time a massive wave of sightings like this one happens. But the question here is, why? What exactly happens here? Are they drawn to these events or are they causing it? I mean, one of the theories for skyquakes is underground constrictions, but what if these underground constrictions are not human?
Decision was made. They're going through the no-fly zone because it's a medical emergency. And what do they see?
If this doesn't work for you, we promise a 10-fold refund immediately. Yes, you heard that right.
In the ice, like a huge entrance to a cave, and he said our instruments are not operating, we were losing electricity, we had magnetic anomalies. They do their medical recovery thing they know, they're all being chewed out by men in suits.
I mean, this would actually explain certain ocean anomalies.
Do you remember the rumors of an underwater alien base being located just off the California coast near Malibu? And what was crazy is that you could even find it for yourself by checking out Google Maps. But you can't anymore, because that area has apparently been scrubbed. Whether it's a massive underwater alien base or just a really strange underwater geographical structure is unknown. But what is known is that it's 2,000 feet underwater and approximately 3 miles wide.
And maybe why certain alien-type figures like Virginia and many others look like insectoid creatures that maybe could live underground.
Alienígenas.
Alienígena? O que é isso?
Essa palavra você nunca ouviu falar? Alienígena.
Alienígena, não. Isso chama-se Mayushibu.
Isso aqui?
Sim. Mancunawabu.
Sério?
Mancunawabu. Mancunawabu é um que mora debaixo da terra.
É, eu falei, esse aí.
A gente pode ter o contato que mora debaixo da terra.
I mean, this could be all just a coincidence, but what if it isn't? What if there are alien-type beings possibly living underground? The question here is, why are we being prepared for a soft disclosure? What do you think? Leave a comment, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel with notifications on. If I find anything else on the topic, I'll let you guys know, and I'll see you guys this week.
freaky.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
And I love it. It's freaky. I love it.
Yep.
And here's a 12-minute on Ontario's largest wildfire.
A community
Well, that's
has
the
been
one that
largely
they're wanting to charge tariffs for, huh?
I don't know. I haven't heard about that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A community has been largely destroyed by wildfire. And right now, a single fire complex in northern Ontario is burning an area nearly twice the size of the city of Toronto. We are talking about one of the most serious wildfire events Ontario has seen in decades, and today, the 17th of July, 2026, it is still not under control. More than 190 active wildfires across Ontario as of the latest evening updates. 80 of them are completely out of control. 15 communities have been evacuated. Toronto recorded some of the worst air quality of any major city on the planet 2 days ago. And a CN Rail freight train was surrounded by a wall of flames near Armstrong, Ontario. This is a very serious situation across northwestern Ontario. Year to date, Ontario has recorded 503 wildland fires inside the provincial fire region. Compare that to 357 for the same period in 2025 and a 10-year average of 326. We are significantly above average, and we are sitting right in the middle of fire season. Across all of Canada, more than 800 fires have burned through 1.9 million hectares of forest, according to NASA Earth Observatory data as of July 14th. As of the evening update on July 16th, there are 129 active wildland fires.
Can this company use your house to trial their radically simple new roofing technology? They're looking for homeowners with
fires in the northwest region alone. 62 of those are not under control. 5 are being held, 4 are under control, 58 are being observed, and then there is Thunder Bay 36, THU 036, the one that defines this fire season. This fire started on July 12th in a remote area of Wabakimi Provincial Park, approximately 14 kilometers northeast of Wabakimi Lake, west of the Berg River. At that point, it was 100 hectares. Not under control, but a single fire in a remote location. Then, over the following 4 days, it began merging with surrounding fires. Thunder Bay 36 absorbed Dryden 13 and several other Thunder Bay designated fires. By July 16th, the Ontario Forest Fires account confirmed that these 4 merged fires now measure 350,922 hectares. That is nearly twice the total land area of the city of Toronto. And it is still not under control. Crews are focused on establishing a fire perimeter. Operational planning is ongoing, but when you have a fire this size and terrain, this remote containment is an enormous challenge. Let's talk about the other major fires that are also burning right now. Fort Frances 144014 is currently sitting at 55,106 hectares, also not under control. Here is why that one matters for road users in particular. According to the Ministry of Natural Resources, the northern perimeter of Fort Frances 14 is estimated to be approximately 5 kilometers southwest of the Trans-Canada Highway at its closest point. The southern perimeter extends as far south as Fork Lake, roughly 6 kilometers north of Highway 11. If you travel to Trans-Canada through northwestern Ontario, that fire is nearby. Fort Frances 15 FOR 015 is 48,216 hectares, also not under control, burning in the Quetico Provincial Park and Atikokan area. Now, there is one more development I need to flag on the fire front. A wildfire that started in Minnesota, known as the Thumb Fire, has crossed the border into Ontario. It has merged with Fort Frances 39 and is now threatening the Gakiji-Wanong Anishinaabe Nation, also known as Lac La Croix First Nation. This is a cross-border fire event, and it is one of the reasons authorities have issued an evacuation alert for that entire area. All right, let's talk about communities, because this is where the human impact becomes real. Collins First Nation Namai-Goosasagagun has been largely destroyed by fire. The representative for the region at Queen's Park confirmed that the majority of the community has burned. Fortunately, and this is important, there are no reported fatalities, but homes, buildings, and the infrastructure that community depended on are gone. That is a significant loss. Mandatory evacuation orders are currently in effect for at least 15 communities across northwestern Ontario. Those confirmed by Ontario Provincial Police include Armstrong, White Sand First Nation, Collins, Lac des Mille Lacs First Nation, Gakijiwanong Anishinaabe Nation, and Gull Bay First Nation, among others. Many evacuees have been relocated to Thunder Bay, but accommodation there is now running short. Authorities have had to begin moving people further south, including to Toronto. For remote First Nations communities, an evacuation is not simply a matter of driving somewhere else. It requires aircraft, buses, and temporary housing, potentially hundreds of kilometers from home. It interrupts healthcare, education, and access to traditional lands. Chiefs of Ontario have issued a formal call for immediate coordinated emergency support from both federal and provincial governments. Now, beyond the mandatory orders, evacuation alerts are also in effect, meaning people in those areas must be ready to leave on short notice. These alerts cover townships including Hutchison, Ramsay Wright, Trottier, and Weaver in the Dryden-Fort Francis Atikokan district. Dozens of lakes and road access areas are included: Boot Lake Road, Camp 111 Road, Crystal Lake, Magnetic Lake, and many more. A separate alert covers the Lac-LaCroix area due to Fort Francis 39 and the cross-border Thumb Fire. If you're in any of these areas, you need your emergency bag ready now. Medicine, passports, legal documents, be prepared before an order comes. Let's get into the transportation picture, because this is affecting travel and supply chains across the region. Highway 527 is closed in both directions between Gull Bay and Armstrong. Highway 599 is closed between Highway 516 and Pickle Lake, and effective 12:01 a.m. On July 17th, that is today, a full emergency area order is in place for the Fort Francis 14 zone under EAO 2026-09. All travel and land use in that designated area is prohibited unless you have a permit from the Ministry of Natural Resources. We're talking about more than 20 named roads and 25 named lakes and waterways, all restricted. I want to put the road closures in context because it's important. Northwestern Ontario has very few alternate transportation routes. Closing one major highway here can mean detours of hundreds of kilometers or temporarily cutting off a community entirely. Now, the rail incident that received a lot of attention this week. On the evening of July 13th, a CN Rail freight train stopped on a siding near Armstrong, Ontario, waiting for an oncoming train to pass, which is standard procedure. While that train was stationary, the wildfire moved in on both sides of the track.
Wow.
Video from inside the locomotive cab, shared by Ontario MPP Sol Mamakwa on X, shows flames engulfing the tree line on both sides of the tracks. CN Rail confirmed the crew was safely evacuated. At least one crew member was treated for smoke inhalation, according to the Teamsters Union. CN Rail has since suspended freight operations in the area and says it is investigating the circumstances. The Teamsters Canada Rail Conference has publicly criticized the decision to operate through an active fire zone. Their statement, "No shipment is worth a human life." On the aviation side, a NODAM, a Notice to Air Missions, is currently active over the Fort Francis 14 area, restricting non-suppression aircraft. And heavy smoke is limiting the effectiveness of aerial firefighting operations across the region. Wabakimi Provincial Park is closed until at least July 20th. All right, let's talk about air quality, because the smoke is not staying in the north. Orange air quality warnings are currently in effect across a wide area, including Wabakimi, Thunder Bay, Shabendowan, Kakabika Falls, White River, Sioux Lookout, Savant Lake, Sturgeon Lake, Pickle Lake, Manitouwadge, and Horn Plain. On July 15th, that smoke moved south in a significant way. Thick haze turned the skies above Ottawa and Toronto a yellow-gray color. According to the Swiss air quality monitoring platform IQ Air, Toronto was recorded as having the worst air quality among major world cities on that day. Environment Canada issued an orange-level air quality warning for Toronto, stating that during heavy smoke conditions, everyone's health is at risk, regardless of age or health status. On the temperature side, northwestern Ontario has seen historically high readings this week. Armstrong recorded 40.7 degrees Celsius on Monday, July 14th, a new all-time high for the community, and the hottest temperature recorded in Ontario since the 1936 heat wave. In Toronto, Tuesday was the city's hottest day in approximately 15 years, according to CBC News and the Weather Network. Wednesday was the 13th day this year that Toronto hit above 30 degrees Celsius. The usual count by mid-July is around 7 days. The city of Thunder Bay has temporarily shut down all outdoor pools, beaches, splash pads, both of its golf courses, and outdoor marina services. The smoke has also crossed the border into the northeastern United States. New York State has issued health advisories, with authorities saying this could be a significant smoke event for the region. Millions of people across southern Canada and the northeastern U.S. have been affected by smoke and heat advisories this week. Now let's talk about what is coming, the extended outlook. The forecast is not reassuring. The Ministry of Natural Resources and their Aviation, Forest, Fire, and Emergency Services Division, known as AFS, stated clearly in their July 16th update, fire hazard is expected to remain high to extreme across northwestern Ontario for the coming days. Hot, dry, and windy conditions are forecast to persist throughout the region. There was a temporary slowdown in growth for Fort Frances 14 and 15 overnight. On July 15th to 16th, some cloud cover, higher humidity, and lower wind speeds help. But the ministry was explicit in its update. Fire hazard remains high and conditions may deteriorate again. There is no containment timeline in place for Thunder Bay 36. Given the size and location of that fire, that is not surprising. It simply reflects the reality crews are dealing with. The ministry says several hundred wildland firefighters are working in northwestern Ontario, supported by nearly 50 aircraft, including water bombers and helicopters. The federal government has also deployed 3 firefighting helicopters to the region. 5 new fires were discovered in the Northwest region on July 16th, the Nipigon 63 through 66 series and Kenora 18. And 20 new fires were confirmed in the Northeast region on the same day in the North Bay, Cochrane, Sudbury, Wawa, Timmins, and Chapleau zones. The Northeast region now has 61 active fires, with 18 not under control. So fire activity is expanding into the Northeast as well, not just staying in the Northwest. The restricted fire zone that came into effect on July 15th covers most of northwestern Ontario and part of the Northeast. No open air burning of any kind is permitted within that zone. No campfires. All burning permits are suspended until further notice. Please follow that directive. Human-caused ignitions during conditions like these would be extremely serious. I want to take a moment to acknowledge what communities across northwestern Ontario and particularly First Nations communities are going through right now. Collins First Nation has been largely burned. 15 communities have been displaced. Families are in evacuation centers far from home. Northern Reach Network in Thunder Bay is looking for temporary fosters, volunteers, and donations to help care for pets displaced by the fires. If you are in a position to help in any way, that assistance matters. All right, to wrap up, here is where things stand as of the 17th of July, 2026. 503 wildland fires recorded in Ontario so far this fire season, more than 190 currently active. Thunder Bay, 36 at 350,000 plus hectares, still burning, not under control. 15 communities evacuated. Collins First Nation largely burned. Highways 527 and 599 closed. Sea and rail suspended in the area. Air quality warnings from Thunder Bay to Toronto, with smoke reaching into the northeastern U.S. And no improvement in the fire weather forecast for the coming days. This is a developing situation. I will be updating this coverage daily as conditions evolve. For the most current evacuation orders and road closures, check ontario.ca/fire updates. That is the official source and the one to trust. If you found this coverage helpful, please like and subscribe and turn notifications on so you get updates as they come in. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.
Stop your dog's indoor peeing in just 48 hours.
Now, if they can make rain, why don't they do that?
Right, exactly.
That doesn't make any sense.
There's no money in fixing it.
Good point. Really good point. Okay, what else? Current updates. That's what this show is called. Current updates. There's a few light-hearted things.
Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same If I saw you in heaven, I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong in heaven. I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong in heaven.
Would you do that?
Yes, I would.
Me too.
In a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
You got a friend in me.
Oh,
You got a friend in me. You got trouble, and I got them too.
So cute.
those are all babies.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. What else can we look at?
Got any baby Trump?
Huh?
Got any baby Trump?
No. No, there's enough Trump out there in the world.
I get it.
Let's see. That's why I asked you if you had anything. Huh. All right. Let me see.
Let me go. I'll go over to my YouTube tonight.
I've got a Y file.
Oh, do that.
Yeah. It is the CIA knows about the end of the world.
That's a good one too.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take your word for
This
it.
is the future of eyewear. Meet Pair Eyewear, where fashion meets function. Choose from a variety of stylish frame shapes that
In 1966, a well-known scientist released a book with information that could impact everyone on Earth. But before anyone could read it, it was classified by the CIA. We only learned about it a few years ago when it was declassified. But the CIA only released 57 pages of the original 284-page manuscript. And those pages have been, in the CIA's own words, sanitized. And why does the CIA think this book is so dangerous that they had to hide it from the public for 60 years and continue to hide most of it? Well, it's because the man who wrote it describes the end of the world. In 1966, former McDonnell Douglas engineer Dr. Chan Thomas released a book called The Adam and Eve Story. Now, that title might sound like he's being cute, but he's actually being literal. This book is about the end of the world as we know it.
Hey.
What's up?
Is this one of those stories where you scare the hell out of us? Then you wrap it up with a happy ending?
Well, you're half right.
No. If I soil my bowl again, you gotta remember to edit that out.
They didn't know you had an accident. You just told them.
Well...
Thomas presents evidence of a coming shift in the Earth's poles that creates a cataclysm. And Thomas says these pole shifts are cyclical, that on regular intervals, a disaster wipes out almost all human life, and we start over again in the Stone Age. He says we're actually the 6th advanced civilization to evolve on Earth. There may have been even more civilizations that have been here, but the further back you go, the harder it is to know for sure, because some of these civilizations occupied continents that no longer exist. Now, Thomas isn't the first scientist to publish this theory. In 1958, almost 10 years before the Adam and Eve story, Charles Hapgood published The Earth's Shifting Crust, which discussed the Earth crustal displacement hypothesis. This theory says that sometimes the Earth spins really fast and the continents are rearranged. When Hapgood proposed the idea of continental drift, it was called pseudoscience. But Hapgood had his supporters. In fact, Albert Einstein wrote the forewords for 2 of his books. Now, of course, we know that Hapgood was right. The continents do move. They drift apart and collide together over and over again, and have done so for almost 4 billion years. Pangaea was the supercontinent that broke apart to form the land masses that exist today. But before Pangaea, there was the supercontinent Gondwana, which existed for 400 million years. Before Gondwana, there was Pannotia. Before that, Rodinia, Columbia, Atlantica, Arctica, Kennerland, Ur, and Valbara. These were all supercontinents that eventually broke apart and reformed. After working with Einstein and a few other scientists, Charles Hapgood released the book The Path of the Pole as an update to his previous theories. In this book, Hapgood suggested that the Earth's poles are constantly moving. Again, this piece of pseudoscience was eventually proven true. Hapgood believed that a pole shift between 15 and 40 degrees occurred around 9600 BC, or 11,600 years ago. Younger Dryas. Now, the Piri-Reis map is something that has baffled scientists for hundreds of years. On the Piri-Reis map is the continent of Antarctica. But Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820, and Piri-Reis claimed the information on his map came from much older maps. If Charles Hapgood was right and the Earth's axis was shifted 15 degrees from where it is now, Antarctica wouldn't be completely covered in ice. Hapgood believed an Ice Age civilization, long forgotten, mapped the coast thousands of years ago. Though many of Hapgood's theories have proven to be true, the Ice Age pole shift is still controversial. We do know the poles shift over time. We also know the continents drift over a very long period of time. But Dr. Chan Thomas, in his book The Adam and Eve Story, says the shift happens in less than a day. Chan Thomas describes in detail what this will be like, and it's worse than any Hollywood disaster movie ever conceived. Far worse. Chan Thomas begins his book with a chapter that describes exactly what we'll experience during this pole shift event. But before we get into it, now might be a good time to hit pause and grab fresh underwear.
I've learned to listen to him when he says that.
With a rumble so low as to be inaudible, then fueling into a thundering roar, the earthquake starts. Only it's not like any earthquake in history. In California, mountains shake like ferns in a breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of seawater more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. The wind attacks, shredding everything in supersonic bombardment. The mountain of Pacific seawater follows the wind eastward, burying Los Angeles and San Francisco as if they were but grains of sand. Across the continent, the 1,000-mile-per-hour wind wreaks unholy vengeance everywhere, mercilessly.
Now here's why there's such violent wind. The Earth spins about 1,000 miles per hour. We don't feel this because everything is spinning together. The land, the water, the atmosphere. Now Thomas says that when the pole shift happens, the Earth's air and water continue to spin, but the land masses stop.
In many places, the Earth's molten sublayer breaks through and spreads a sea of white, hot liquid fire. In a fraction of a day, all vestiges of civilization are gone, and the great cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, New York, Boston, are nothing but legends. Barely a stone is left where millions walked just a few hours ago.
Now think of what would happen if you were in a car going 1,000 miles per hour that suddenly stopped. Now think of what would happen if a large city going 1,000 miles per hour suddenly stopped. Skyscrapers would collapse. Millions of people would be thrown around like they were in a food processor. Very few people would survive that, but survivors are the unlucky ones, because moving across the country at the speed of sound is a 2-mile-high wall of water, mud, and debris.
South America finds the Andes not high enough to stop the violence. In less than a day, the entire continent is burned by molten earth fire, buried under miles of violent seas, then turned into a frozen hell. Everything freezes, man, beast, plant, and mud in less than 4 hours.
When the shift happens, the land on Earth stops moving, so the sun stops moving in the sky. That means one side of the Earth is going to get really hot, and the other side really cold. A temperature drop of 180 degrees. That means even the warmest parts of the planet are going to be 80 degrees below zero. Everything is frozen solid within 4 hours.
Europe cannot escape. The Alps, Pyrenees, Urals are shrunken, then heaved even higher when the wall of seawater strikes. Western Africa and the sands of the Sahara vanish. The fury marches on for 6 days. During the 6th day, the ocean starts to settle. The Bay of Bengal Basin just east of India is now at the North Pole. The Pacific Ocean just west of Peru is at the South Pole. New ice caps begin to form in the new polar areas. Greenland and Antarctica, now rotating equatorially, emerge with verdant tropical foliage.
Thomas is predicting a 90-degree shift to the Earth's axis. basically turning the planet on its side. The poles move to the equator, and the equator moves to the poles.
New York lies at the bottom of the Atlantic, covered by unbelievable amounts of mud. Of San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, and Boston, not a trace is left. The cataclysm has done its work and drives the pitiful few who survive into a new Stone Age. We join Noah, Adam and Eve, Atlantis, Mu and Olympus, and Jesus joins Osiris, Tahora, Zeus, and Vishnu.
In the first chapter of his book, Dr. Thomas paints a terrifying future. But how likely is it? In the next few chapters, Thomas goes on to not only prove his pole shift is possible, that it's happened before and will happen again very soon. In fact, there are signs that it may have already begun. Hey! Every culture has a flood myth. Abrahamic religions have Noah's flood. The Mayans have the Huracan flood, where the word hurricane comes from. Ancient Hawaiians have the Nu'u flood. The Sumerians wrote about a flood in Gilgamesh. Europe, Asia, Pacific Islanders, and native tribes from all over America, they all talk about a great flood that cleansed the earth so civilization could start again. Now, one myth is just folklore. Two myths are a coincidence. 4D flood myths? This starts to look less like a myth and more like actual history. Now, on this channel, we typically associate great floods with the end of the last ice age, the Younger Dryas, and core samples provide solid evidence that this happened. But what's interesting is, Thomas said the last great flood wasn't 11,500 years ago, but 6,500 years ago. Now, in the 1960s, there was very little, if any, proof of this, but a few years ago, archaeologists found evidence of the Gunyu flood myth in China. Evidence of a great flood has been found in the Mediterranean and in the Black Sea. These discoveries put the flood between 6,500 and 7,000 years ago, more recent than the Younger Dryas, and right when Thomas says it happened. Chan Thomas provides the dates of other floods. The Younger Dryas is about 11,500 years ago. Before that, a flood 18,500 years ago. And this is exactly the time when the Bering Land Bridge went underwater. Before that, 29,000 years ago, which was the end of the Wisconsin glacial period. And before that, 43,800 years ago. But global floods aren't controversial. We know they happened. What is controversial is the claim that advanced civilizations existed before each of the floods. Mainstream archaeology and paleontology say the first civilization emerged in Mesopotamia 6,500 years ago. But what if that was just the last reboot?
Ooh, like the Batman movies?
Exactly.
The Dark Knight Rises is the best one.
Can we discuss Batman later? I'm trying to talk about the end of the world here.
Ooh, that's why I keep interrupting.
Coward. When we look at the erosion around the base of the Great Sphinx, we see patterns that were formed by running water, vast amounts of water moving at tremendous speeds. But if this is water erosion, that means the Sphinx was created before the last flood 6,500 years ago, which is before the emergence of the Egyptian civilization. Archaeologists hate that idea. And they really hate the idea that the Sphinx was built over 10,000 years ago. But there's other evidence of a cataclysmic pole shift, specifically of a great mud flood and a sunken continent.
Do you mean?
I mean Atlantis.
Aunt Jemima!
Chan Thomas makes some pretty extreme claims in the Adam and Eve story. Extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. In his dialogues, Plato famously introduced the world to Atlantis, the advanced utopian society that was destroyed in a cataclysm. Now, until definitive proof of Atlantis is found, it will continue to be considered a mythical land. But that won't and shouldn't stop people from looking for it. There is a geological feature in Northwest Africa called the Richat structure, also called the Eye of the Sahara. It's about the right size and shape for Atlantis. Plato described the city as concentric rings with a waterway flowing out. But even among Atlantis believers, there's debate about whether this is a man-made structure or a natural one. But what I find fascinating is near the Eye of the Sahara and all over the planet, you'll see large ripples in the landscape. Now, on the ground, these look like rolling hills, but they're actually about 50 feet high, the size of a 5-story building. And they were caused by water. A lot of water.
This is one of the craziest things you'll ever see.
These ripples, repeated ripples in an area where there's nothing else like it.
This is the fingerprints of the flood. That's what it is.
Wow. The water here, Joe, that did this, the way to visualize this is to, again, begin to think of tsunami. Here, what you have to visualize is a tsunami sweeping over the land that's over 1,000 feet deep. And it's sweeping down over this land at probably 200 or 300 million cubic feet per second, which is an inconceivable amount of water.
But Atlantis isn't the only place lost to this disaster. On the other side of the world, we have another lost continent. This is called the Land of Mu. Mu was described by Augustus Le Plongeon and later by James Churchward, both of whom translated very old texts from the Maya and India. Both of these cultures, on opposite sides of the world, describe a vast continent in the Pacific that reached Hawaii in the north, and as far south as Easter Island, and as far west that it almost reached the islands of Japan. James Bramwell and William Scott Elliott, both proponents of this theory, claim the continent was destroyed in a cataclysm 11,500 years ago. There's that date again. The Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Japan is said to be the underwater ruins of Mu. Nam Madol in Micronesia is considered to be the southern part of Mu. The site is full of structures made of enormous logs of volcanic rock. Nobody knows who built this or how, but their society was advanced. Just recently, LiDAR imaging from the air shows that at one time, Nam Madol had an artificial irrigation system that could bring fresh water to residents all over the area. The eastern part of Mu is Easter Island, and there could be evidence of a cataclysm there. On Easter Island are the Moai statues, and you've seen these. It's lots of heads, about 1,000 actually. And most people don't realize that these statues have bodies buried deep underground. So there are two options. One, whoever built the statues first dug holes, then buried 30-foot tall, 80-ton statues up to their necks, then filled in the holes. Or two, the statues were completely above ground, but at some point were buried by something. And look at Easter Island. It's a tiny island in the middle of nowhere. At one point, 12,000 people lived there. Where did they come from? Mainstream anthropology says that people from Polynesia took a canoe out thousands of miles in the middle of the Pacific and hoped for the best. But if the continent of Mu was real, then they could have just walked there. This could also explain why Polynesian languages share similarities to Greek, and maybe why on Easter Island they worshipped a sun god called Ra, which is awfully close to the Egyptian sun god Ra. And the connections don't stop there. There are similarities between Greek, Egyptian, and even Indian gods, as if all these cultures intermingled or came from a single source. Chan Thomas lays out some good evidence for the cyclical cataclysm theory. But the big questions are how and when will it happen? Well, you're not going to like the answer.
We're looking for homeowners who want to help us test this innovative drone roofing service for no cost. Professional tech.
Dr. Chan Thomas lays out a compelling argument for a coming global cataclysm. But when? Well, to answer that, we have to understand how it happens. In the story of Adam and Eve, Thomas includes a diagram showing the cross-section of the Earth and a description of the process.
The process of a cataclysm is known now. Look at the cross-section of the Earth inside the front cover. You'll see two molten layers, the orange ones. The important one is the thin molten layer starting 60 miles down, extending 60 miles deeper to 120 miles below the surface of the Earth. The thick, deep molten layer starting 1,800 miles down at the bottom of the mantle and extending 1,300 miles deeper is the outer core. Seismology has proven these two orange layers to be molten, and they are white hot, over 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now, Dr. Thomas was able to predict seismic activity all over the world.
Inside the Earth, the electrical and magnetic structure of the interior makes the layers act as if they were near solid. As long as the magnetic and electrical structure of the Earth maintains its orderliness, it keeps rotating on axis in a normal manner. Every few thousand years, the magnetic and electrical orderliness in the shallow molten layer is disorganized, to the extent that the shallow molten layer is allowed to act as a free liquid, which then serves as a lubricant for the ice caps to pull the shell around the Earth's interior so as to have the ice caps shift about 90 degrees into the torrid zone.
When this event occurs, the layer beneath the Earth's crust turns from solid to liquid. Then the land masses can slide around freely, and the weight of the ice caps then yanks the Earth off axis.
In 1/4 to 1/2 a day, the geographic poles move to the torrid zone and all hell lets loose.
Well, that's an understatement.
The atmosphere and the Earth's oceans don't shift with the shell. They just keep on rotating west to east, and at the equator, that speed is about 1,037 miles per hour. So while the shell shifts with the poles going to the equator, the winds and oceans continue eastward, blowing and flooding across the Earth at supersonic speeds, inundating continents with water miles deep, destroying everything with which man has ever dealt, including himself. That's a summary of the process.
Oh, when is all this supposed to happen? I need time to get a steel-reinforced bowl.
Well, Chan Thomas updated his prediction in 1993 and said the shift would happen in 7 years, around the year 2000. He mentioned that Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce made the same prediction.
Yeah, but that's over 20 years ago, which means we're due.
We're due. There's a lot more to the Adam and Eve story, but those are the bullet points. And if you want to read the entire book, there are links below. So, should we panic? Well, let's address a few items in the book and see how they compare with known science. But first, let's clear up a few things. I told the story based on what's in the book and in the articles and videos floating around the web. The videos aren't completely accurate. First, you'll hear that Chan Thomas is a made-up name. Because the subject matter was so explosive, he wrote the book under a pseudonym. Well, this isn't true. Dr. Chan Thomas was a real person. Chan is a nickname. His full name was Dr. Chauncey Powers Thomas. He was born in Missouri in 1920 and passed away in 1998. He was married and had children and grandchildren. He was an electrical engineer and he did work for McDonnell Douglas. He even appeared as a UFO expert in a documentary in the 90s, and he was on Johnny Carson on April 7th, 1965, with Ava Gabor.
Well, at no point in this story did I think we'd end up with Johnny Carson and Ava Gabor.
Dr. Thomas wrote a few books, some about the coming cataclysm. He wrote about ESP, UFOs. He wrote one book on how to teach yourself natural childbirth.
Wait, what? What does he know about childbirth? Now, I'm not a biologist, but I don't think men can...
Don't go there. Another thing you'll hear is that the book was originally 284 pages, but the CIA only released 57 of those pages.
Not true?
Nah, the original book was 57 pages. If you look at the table of contents, the conclusion begins on page 45. And some people will say the CIA is withholding documents because pages are missing, like page 8, page 18, page 20, and a few others. Well, they're missing because they're the opposite sides of title pages. In the original book, they're blank. And I could show you this. Someone has a copy. So the CIA document is the whole thing.
Oh, then why classify it?
Well, that's a bit of a mystery. What was classified was the book, an inter-office memo with a shopping list for some tools and car parts, and a folded-up article snipped from People magazine.
Well, that's pretty random.
Yeah, if I had to guess, this document was in the possession of a caseworker and it was classified just as a matter of course. In 1966, the year it was classified, Dr. Thomas was working at McDonnell Douglas on UFO and anti-gravity technology. He also worked as a project engineer at Bell Labs on a missile guidance system. Chan Thomas was known to be highly intelligent, but very eccentric. The classified documents were probably part of a background report or maybe someone just keeping an eye on him. You'll hear that the book was banned, but it wasn't. Just this one document was classified. There were copies in circulation. He also published follow-ups in 1971 and 1993, and neither was classified. As for the content of the book itself, Thomas doesn't provide any solid evidence. He makes a lot of deductions from old texts, some of which are pretty big leaps. And it seems like he's borrowing ideas from other catastrophists like Hapgood, Immanuel Velikovsky, and a few others. But he's cherry-picking his favorite parts without giving specifics. For example, his theory about the ice caps knocking the Earth off axis, well, that comes from Hapgood's first book. But after working with scientists, including Albert Einstein, Hapgood issued a follow-up book that explains how he got that wrong. But Dr. Thomas, he sticks with the story. And the liquid crust bit he talks about? He says the Earth's magnetism and electricity become disrupted. He offers no evidence or even an explanation of how it happens, just that it does. Now, there are ice core samples from the eastern part of Antarctica that show it's been covered in ice for at least 1.5 million years. Now, granted, the western side of the continent is a little trickier because it may not have always been covered in ice. But either way, we know for certain it's been down there for a long time. When Chan Thomas released an expanded version of the book in 1993, he didn't make any corrections or provide any new evidence, but he did have chapters on ESP, on UFOs, and on angels. It doesn't read as scientific at all. In fact, it's a hot mess. He jumps all over the place without a cohesive narrative. It feels like he gathered a bunch of ideas he had over the years and then threw them into one final book. So, 2 questions. Was Dr. Chan Thomas a serious researcher? No. But is there evidence to support some of his claims? There is. Now, I don't believe Dr. Chauncey Powers Thomas was a serious researcher. Whether he really had ESP or not, I'd rather not get into it. But some of the claims he makes in his book have been proven possible. We know that global floods have happened. The evidence is everywhere. But these floods, specifically from the Younger Dryas, were not from the oceans, they were from the rapid melting of glaciers. Still, they were destructive. They really did create tsunamis 1,000 feet high, and they really raised the sea level hundreds of feet. He says the temperature drops so much and so quickly that everything is instantly frozen solid. He talks about woolly mammoths being frozen with buttercups in their mouths. Now, this is true. Mammoths have been discovered that were frozen in the middle of eating. Now, it takes a long time to freeze a steak, but to flash freeze a mammoth, those conditions would have to be extreme. According to Thomas, seismic activity is one of the reasons the Earth's axis shifts. This is also true. NASA found that the big Indonesian earthquake in 2004 shifted the North Pole about 25 centimeters east, and the Earth's rotation sped up, which decreased the length of a day by 2.7 microseconds. In 2010, an earthquake in Chile did the same thing. The Earth's axis shifted and the day was shortened again. In Japan the following year, it happened again.
Is this a concern?
Not really, no. Earthquakes speed up the Earth a little bit, but the moon slows it down. Things stay pretty well balanced. The shifts aren't anything to worry about. Now, the shifting magnetic poles, that is a concern. We know the Earth's poles flip-flop. North becomes south and vice versa. And geologically speaking, it happens a lot. It's happened hundreds of times. On average, the time between shifts is about 300,000 years. But we haven't shifted in almost 800,000 years, so we're way overdue.
How do we know it flipped?
Well, because when lava cools, it creates a record of the orientation of past magnetic fields, like a tape recorder records sound.
Ooh, that's pretty cool, actually.
The poles are always moving. In the early 1990s, the North Pole was drifting about 9 miles per year, but that's been steadily increasing. In fact, GPS is updated periodically to account for this. But GPS was being updated every 5 years, then every year, and now every 6 months. The pole is now drifting at almost 40 miles per year, and the Earth's magnetic field is weakening quickly. These are signs that a shift could be coming. So what then? Is that the end of the world? Well, life will go on. Animals that navigate using geomagnetism will be confused, but in a generation or two, they'll figure it out. Animals that don't use magnetism probably won't notice a difference. The geologic record shows no major die-offs during pole shifts, and our species has lived through a few shifts the past 3 million years, and we're still here.
Ugh.
Farm in the wild, raise animals and harvest crops, make food for yourself and for sale.
But our ancestors didn't have satellites or GPS or planes. A lot of our technology is going to go haywire, but code can be rewritten and software can be patched. The real danger is in between the shifts. As we approach a pole shift, the Earth's magnetic field gets tangled up and extremely weakened. This leaves us vulnerable to solar activity. Solar winds, storms, coronal mass ejections, these are bad. Without our magnetic field to protect us, satellites will get fried if they're not hardened. Rates of cancer will increase dramatically. And if you think climate change is a problem now...
Climate change is not a problem now.
Yeah, it is.
Don't be a sheep.
Either way, the climate will be very unpredictable. But the biggest danger is our power grids. High enough solar activity could knock out all electricity on Earth for days or weeks, maybe months in some places. To say there will be civil unrest is a huge understatement. When Dr. Chan Thomas released his book, The Adam and Eve Story, it was dismissed as pseudoscience. But in the 50 or so years since it was published, a lot of his claims can be proven. It would seem that, in some cases, the difference between pseudoscience and real science is just time. And if just a fraction of Dr. Thomas's predictions come true, our time is running out. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ, that's Hecklefish. This has been the Y-Files. If you had fun or learned anything, do us a favor, subscribe, share, like, comment. I know I'm a broken record, but that stuff really helps the channel. And like...
Yeah, it does. So, Vicki, do you have any? What were you saying you had?
I don't think I said I had anything.
Oh.
Remember I asked you.
Yeah, I thought you were going to pull something up.
Oh, okay. I didn't. You know what? I sat here and half-assed went back to sleep.
Well, that's what I get for waking you up.
Oh, God. Yeah, I was going to do that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, play something else, and I'm gonna.
Okay.
I'll go right now and find it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
How about a song?
Songs always work.
I know, right? Oh, let's play this one. My favorite.
You got a friend?
No, not that one. Oh. Zip, zip, zip. Right here.
What if we never met? Our souls were free, roaming inside the net. And what if a sign was sent and I caught the wave and got tangled up inside your web? Hold my hand, I wanna take you on a ride back in time with me. And don't be scared of all the lights we're making history. What if there's a magical place that nobody knows about yet? Somewhere between time and space that they haven't figured out yet. Well, let me tell you about this thing of ours, La Cosa Nostra. Let me take you on this trip of ours, La Cosa Nostra. Where we go from here, haunted by illusions of fear. Faith will become clear when you believe in miracles. Rainbows will appear. The path that we've been given still remains to be unwritten. And like a secret passion that questions time, it amplifies intuition. It's a fantastic odyssey passed down by the gods that live on in Greek mythology. Unexplained like a prophecy. It's a rhapsody that will be my bohemian eulogy. With endless possibilities, when every day is like a Roman trilogy starring you and me in a romantic anomaly. There ain't no way they can portray this on a Hollywood movie screen. What if there's a magical place that nobody knows about yet? Somewhere between time and space that they haven't figured out yet. Well, let me tell you about this thing of ours, La Cosa Nostra. Let me take you on this trip of ours, La Cosa Nostra. Oh, it's a wake-up call as the beauty of it all appears, La Cosa Nostra. A revelation of blind man sees what you can't hear, La Cosa Nostra. Mi amore, vieni con me, viaggeremo verso est della on the dance floor, dancing up inside you, playing on the grass, rolling right beside you. Per favore con lo zucchero sopra, perché cos'è che mi piace. Time is like a Coney Island roller coaster. Enjoy the ride, La Cosa Nostra.
Okay, Vicki, you got it?
I do.
Okay, doke. I'll drop the share.
Oops. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you, Kim.
How long?
One of them is 30 minutes, and I think the other is 17.
Okay.
It just takes me a minute to get over there.
Yeah. Kim says hi.
Hello? Who did? Who did?
Kim says hi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kim who?
Kim Mall.
He's in here?
Yeah.
What up, buddy? Okay. All right. So I thought about the CERN machine, and then I've got some of them go back Teppy. But I like the CERN time machine.
Okay.
There's supposedly a message in it.
Out here, sometimes you need a little boost. How about 2 big slices of cheesy pizza and a Pepsi for just $8? It's a meal deal that's worth the stop. Pilot and Flying J. See you out here.
Nice hat. Where'd you get it?
Depop. 12.
Okay, folks, buckle up. Now, if you saw part 1, you'll know CERN's machine loves raising questions it refuses to answer. Well, this time the question is a whole lot darker. And by the end, you're going to look at a board game, a fast food logo, and that feeling that time is speeding up in a whole different way. Get ready for a wild ride. Some stories you investigate. Others refuse to let you sleep. This is the second kind. In the weeks since posting part 1, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd only told you half of it, that there was a darker version of the story sitting just underneath, waiting. What I found changes everything about how I see that machine buried under the Swiss-French countryside. Last time, I asked you a question. Did CERN change reality by accident? Tonight, I want to ask you a worse one. What if it wasn't an accident at all? What if, buried inside the biggest machine humanity has ever built, something is being sent? Now, not a person, not a spacecraft, but a message, a single whisper of information aimed backwards through time at us. And here's the part that keeps me up at night. If that message already arrived, how would you ever know it was there? So, a message through time. Now that's quite a lot to take in. But that's genuinely where the physics points, and I couldn't let it go. In part 1, we chased the idea that reality glitched on its own. And this time, we're chasing something colder, intent. Somebody or something choosing to send it. I'm not asking you to believe it yet. I'm just asking you to keep that idea in your head for the next 20 minutes. The message. The one thing everyone gets wrong about time travel. Here is where nearly every time travel story trips over its own feet. We picture a body, a person in a chair, white knuckles, vanishing in a flash of light and reappearing in ancient Rome. And physics, quite politely, tells us to forget it. A human being is fragile, heavy, and very complicated. The energy you would need to push a body through a closed time-like curve, a loop in space-time that bends back on itself, is so absurd it borders on comedy. So, we laugh, and we close the book. Time travel? Impossible. Case closed. But watch what happens when you stop thinking about the traveller and start thinking about the cargo. Because information is not a person. It has no bones to shatter, no cells to age, no beating heart to stop. Information has no mass at all. It's the lightest thing in the universe, a single bit, a yes or a no, a 1 or a 0. And the rules that make sending a human being a laughable do not necessarily apply to sending a single bit of truth. That's the shift I want you to make with me tonight. We're not asking, can a person travel through time? We already know the answer to that. We're asking something far more unsettling. Can a message travel through time? And if the answer is yes, even theoretically, then the whole game changes. Because you don't build the most powerful machine in human history, 27 kilometers of superconducting magnets, to send nothing. You build it to find something, to catch something, maybe to send something. So, let me plant the real question right here. What actually happened inside that machine that made serious physicists write papers about sending information backwards in time? What did they see? Oh, I love this bit because it's so simple once it clicks. We've been so busy laughing at the idea of the DeLorean that we never stop to ask the smaller, sneakier question. Forget the guy. What about the note in his pocket? Honestly, that's such a human blind spot, right? We always picture ourselves as the main character, the hero who travels, never the humble little bit of data that actually could. There's something almost funny about that. The universe might allow time travel, just not for us. How rude. Anyway, hold that thought. What did they see? What is a Higgs singlet? The particle physics can't rule out. Now, to understand what they're hunting, you have to meet the strangest guest at the party, the Higgs singlet. Now, you've probably heard of the Higgs boson, found in 2012, the particle that gives other particles their mass, the so-called God particle. Splashed across every newspaper on Earth. Well, that one is famous. But the Higgs singlet is its shy, secretive cousin, and it's never been confirmed to exist at all. Now, here's what makes it special. In physics, most particles are chatty. They interact, they bump, they obey the ordinary rules of the standard model, the rulebook of everything we know. But a singlet is theorized to be a loner, a scalar particle that barely talks to the ordinary world we live in. It sits in theory at a kind of doorway, a portal. That's what physicists actually call it, between our familiar universe and what they term a hidden sector, a dark, unseen layer of reality running quietly alongside our own. Why does that matter for a message? Well, because a doorway is exactly what you would need if you want to send information somewhere the ordinary laws forbid. You don't use an ordinary particle. You use the one thing that ignores the normal rules, the one particle that touches the hidden layer where the usual limits of space and possibly time start to bend. That's why the singlet is so tantalizing, so frustrating. It's the perfect messenger, light, elusive, connected to hidden physics. And it's the one thing our machines have never been able to confirm or deny. Physics can't rule it out, and physics can't find it yet, which raises an obvious itching question. If we've been looking this hard for this long, why is it still hiding? Is it simply too rare to catch, or is it waiting for a bigger net? Right. Quick confession. The first time I read the phrase portal to a hidden sector, I assumed I was reading science fiction. I wasn't. That's the actual language serious physicists use. A hidden sector, a whole shadow layer of reality we can't see. And I find that genuinely wonderful and slightly terrifying in equal measure. Because if there is a door, the first thing any curious species does is knock on it, loudly, with a 27-kilometer knuckle. We're not a subtle species, are we? We found a mysterious door and immediately built the biggest fist imaginable. You don't send a man, you send a bit. So, let's actually do it, theoretically. How do you send a message to yesterday? This is where two rival ideas walk into the room, and they genuinely disagree with each other. They both come from real physics, and both are unnerving. The first belongs to physicist David Deutsch. Now, his model of a time-looped bit of information is beautifully strange. I picture a single qubit, a piece of quantum data, sent around a closed time-like curve, back to its own past. Now, Deutsch's rule is simple but ruthless. The bit is only allowed to exist if it's perfectly consistent with itself. It must loop, meet its own history, and agree with it completely. No contradictions permitted. The universe, in this picture, is a stern editor. It deletes any message that would argue with its own past. Now, the second idea is even stranger, the post-selected model, explored by physicist Seth Lloyd and colleagues. Now here, the universe does not edit after the fact, it filters before. Only the timelines where the message is consistent are ever allowed to happen in the first place. Everything else quietly never occurs. You don't fix a paradox, you simply live in the one reality where the paradox never arose. Now sit with that for a second. In both models, a message can travel backwards, but only a very particular kind of message, one that was always in some sense meant to be there. And that's the thread that pulls this whole story tight. Because if you could only ever send a message that the universe already permits, then a working channel would not feel like magic. It would feel like fate, like something you can't fight. Which leads us straight into the oldest objection of them all, the one your gut is already shouting at the screen. What about the paradox? What about going back and stopping the whole thing from ever happening? Well, hold that thought, because the loophole is more chilling than the problem. Now, I'm not going to casually pretend I understand quantum post-selection over my morning coffee. I don't. Nobody fully does. But the flavour of it is what gets me. Two brilliant people looked at the same impossible thing, and one said the universe edits the message, and the other said the universe pre-approves the message. But either way, the universe is doing your homework and marking it. And there's something quietly hilarious about physicists inventing an all-powerful cosmic editor just to avoid admitting that time travel might make a mess. Tidy universe, suspiciously tidy. The grandfather paradox has a loophole. You already know the grandfather paradox. Go back in time, prevent your grandparents from meeting, and you erase yourself, which means you were never there to erase yourself, and reality chokes on the contradiction. It's the reason most people wave time travel away entirely. Too messy, too broken. But there is a principle that quietly dissolves the whole problem, and it's real physics, not fiction. It's called the Novikov self-consistency principle, named for physicist Igor Novikov. And Novikov's idea is almost unnervingly calm. It says the universe simply does not allow contradictions, full stop. If time travel is possible, then the only events that can happen are the ones that were always going to happen. You can't kill a grandfather because you didn't, you never did. Any action you take in the past was already part of history. The loop was always closed, you were always there. Now, apply that to a message. If someone sends information backwards through the singlet channel, Novikov's principle says that message can only tell you things that were always going to be true anyway. You can't warn yourself off a path you were never going to take. You can't rewrite a decision that history has already recorded. The message is real, but it's handcuffed to a future that already happened. And here's the chilling part I promised you. A working channel to the past would not set you free. It would prove you were never free to begin with. Every warning it sends, you were always going to receive. Every action you take because of it, you are always going to take. The message does not give you a choice. It reveals that the choice was already made. So, why is this event so strange? Because if this is true, a message from tomorrow is not a gift, it's a cage. And you have to ask, who would ever want to build a cage like that on purpose? Now, this is the section that genuinely rattled me when I was writing it. As a kid, I always assumed time travel would be freedom. Go back, fix a mistake, save the day. And Novikov turns that completely inside out. In his universe, you can't fix anything because it's already fixed, including you. And I keep coming back to that word, handcuffed. A message you can't disobey is not really information, is it? It's an instruction from a future that already won. I made myself a strong cup of tea after writing that. I needed it. You might too.
Hey, have you been researching dental implants? Did you know you can now get permanent teeth in just 24 hours?
Who would want a message from tomorrow? Well, let's step out of the equations for a moment and into human nature. Because the physics is only half the story. The other half is motive. Ask yourself honestly, if a channel to the past existed, even a narrow one, even one that could only send a few consistent bits of information, who on earth would want it most? Well, think about what a single confirmed message from tomorrow would actually be worth. Not a person, not a machine, just knowledge. Knowledge of what is coming before anyone else on the planet has the faintest idea. Now, foreknowledge is the oldest form of power there is. Every empire, every fortune, every advantage in human history came down to knowing something first. And here is the quiet, uncomfortable logic. A discovery like that would never be announced. Think about it. The moment you reveal you can receive information from the future, its value collapses, because now everyone knows. The only way to keep that power is to keep it secret. Which means, if such a channel were ever opened, the most rational thing its owners could possibly do is tell absolutely no one. I want to be careful here, because I'm not accusing any person or institution of anything. I've got no evidence of a hidden plot, and I wouldn't pretend that I do. This is speculation, theory, a thought experiment about incentives. But the incentive itself is undeniable. A working message to the past would be the single most valuable secret in human history. And valuable secrets don't tend to hold press conferences. So, we're left with a strange circular suspicion. If the technology were possible, we would expect it to be hidden. And if it were hidden, its absence from the headlines would prove nothing at all. Which brings us to the evidence hiding in plain sight. The fingerprints, the residue. The little things that are not quite the way you remember them. I want to plant a flag here because this is important. I'm not telling you a shadowy cabal is reading tomorrow's newspaper. I genuinely don't believe I've got any proof of that. What I am saying is softer, and honestly, I think far more interesting. The motive is real even if the plot is not. The humans always paid anything for a peek at what's coming. So the thought experiment stands on its own. If it were possible, would they tell us? Would you? Yeah, exactly. Neither would I. The residue why millions remember a reality that never existed. Well, now we arrive at the part of the story that lives in your own memory, and I mean that literally. You remember the Monopoly Man, little top-hatted mascot, cane in hand, moustache, and that shiny monocle over his eye. You can picture it right now. Except there's a problem. He never had a monocle. Not once. Go and look. It's not there, and it never was. And yet, millions of people, maybe you included, remember it with total clarity. Or the fast food chain, you know the one, the chicken place. How do you spell it? And most people confidently think of Chick-fil-A spelled one way, and then look up and find the name is spelled differently than they remember. A tiny detail, a logo, a spelling. The kind of thing nobody would ever bother to fake. In part 1, I called these Mandela effects, and I framed them as reality glitching on its own. And tonight, I want to offer you a darker reframe. What if they are not glitches? What if they are read receipts? Follow the thread. If a message is sent backwards, and Novikov's principle forces the timeline to stay consistent, then reality has to quietly correct itself around every edit. And where would those corrections show up? Not in the big, long-bearing facts of history. Those are anchored, remembered by billions. They would show up in the low-stakes debris. A mascot's monocle, the spelling of a logo. Trivial details, cheap to overwrite, that no one would think to defend. And our memories, our stubborn, disagreeing memories, might be the only surviving copy of the version from before the edit. So, what does that mean for us? It means that unsettling feeling so many of you described in the comments, that time feels faster, that nothing has felt quite right for years, might not be in your head. What if you're not misremembering the past? What if you're noticing the corrections? So, I read your comments on part 1, all of them, and the thing that stopped me was not the monocle or the spelling. It was how many of you said quietly that things just feel differently lately, that time seems to be speeding up. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that it's definitely temporal editing, because I've got no proof of that. But I will say this, I felt seen reading those comments because I feel it too. And maybe we're all just tired, or maybe we're remembering the draft. Long Shutdown 3 and the FCC, why they're really upgrading the machine. And here's the fact that turns this from a bedtime creepypasta into something you can check for yourself. Right now, as you watch this, the Large Hadron Collider is switched off. It's what CERN calls Long Shutdown 3, a multi-year pause, the machine cold and silent, swarmed by engineers. And the official reason is an upgrade, and that part's completely true and completely public. They're transforming it into the high luminosity LHC. Luminosity in physics basically means how many collisions you can pack into the machine. And the upgrade is enormous, aiming to increase the collision data by roughly a factor of 10. Now, simply that number through the lens of everything we've just discussed. If your goal were to find or produce an impossibly rare particle, a shy little singlet that barely interacts with anything and hides at the edge of detection, what would you need? You would need more collisions, far more. You would need to roll the dice, not thousands of times, but millions upon millions more. You would need, in other words, exactly this upgrade. The boring maintenance story and the extraordinary story fit the same evidence perfectly. That's what makes it hard to dismiss. And they're not stopping there. Waiting in the wings is the LHC's big brother, the Future Circular Collider, the FCC. A proposed machine so large its ring would dwarf the current one, engineered to reach around 3 times the energy. If the current collider is the net that keeps just missing the singlet, the FCC is a net built specifically to catch it. The machine designed to finish the search, which leaves one final door to open. If they're building a machine powerful enough to catch a message from the future, what happens the day they succeed? Or, and hold on to something here, what if the reason they know exactly where to look is that the answer already came back to tell them? And this is the part I always want people to fact check because I want you to be skeptical. Now, Long Shutdown 3 is real. The high luminosity upgrade is also real. And so is the FCC proposal. All real. And none of that is fringe. It's on CERN's own website. What is fringe is the meaning I'm hanging on it. And I own that one completely. But I love that the mundane explanation and the wild one predict the exact same machine. More collisions, bigger net. Now, whether you're hunting ordinary physics or something far stranger, you build precisely what they're building. And funny how that works, or not funny, I can't decide.
Honey, pepper, pimento, pineapple, dragon fruit. They're back, they're so back.
Big retailers don't want you to have this zoom lens, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. So there's this new super...
if the message already arrived. Now, let me take you back to the question I hid in the very first minute. If a message from the future already arrived, how would you ever know it was there? I think maybe we've been staring at the answer this whole time. Consider the strangest loop of all, the bootstrap paradox. It works like this. Imagine the instructions for building the singlet channel are sent back in time to the scientists who then build the channel. So the channel is used to send back the very blueprint that creates the channel. Where did the knowledge come from? Nowhere. It has no origin. It simply exists in the loop, feeding itself. An answer with no question, cause with no beginning. Now look at where we actually are. Physicists know with remarkable precision what to hunt for. The properties of a particle they've never seen. A doorway to a sector no one has ever touched. And they're pouring billions and decades into building the exact machine needed to find it. We assume that knowledge came from human theory, from chalk on a blackboard. But what if some sliver of it came back to us? What if the singlet is not just the messenger, but the message? What if the reason we are so sure it's out there is that somewhere ahead of us in time we already found it, and we made very sure our past selves would look? The monopoly monocle, the spelling that shifted, the feeling that time is running faster than it should, and the most powerful machine ever built, quietly upgrading in the dark, hunting a particle that might carry a whisper from tomorrow. I don't know if the message has arrived, but I know we built the mailbox, and I know we're making it bigger. So the only question I'll leave you with is the one that I can't answer. If tomorrow is already talking to us, are we listening, or are we just now finally learning to read? And that's where I'll leave it, because that's where the honest edge of what we know actually is. I don't have a big reveal for you, no leaked document, no smoking gun. Just a machine, a particle, and a very strange loop that refuses to sit still in my head. Now, if this rattled you the way it rattled me, tell me in the comments which Mandela effect you would swear your life was real. I read every single one, I really do. Oh, and try not to think too much about the mailbox. See you in part 3, maybe.
What did you think about that?
That was interesting.
Thank you. I thought so.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, you got 17 minutes if you want it.
Well, that was 28 minutes.
Oh, I thought you said the other one was 17.
Yeah, I thought that 21 was 17.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, the portals. I'd love to find a portal.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Go back to. Stop shooting. Okay. So how about a song?
Oh, I can do that. Let me look. One song coming up. As soon as I find it. In case you don't realize, we're very laid back here. All right, let's go back up here because I can't find one that I bought. What is this one?
Yeah, so laid back I can fall asleep.
Yeah, you did too, didn't you? Okay. Screen 2. Number 51. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Pull this up. Okay, 51.
Fire burning in my soul, it's taking full control. I'll never let it go, 'cause life can be hard when you feel like you're all alone. Nobody there to hold, nobody there to know you. In the depths of my soul, fire burning bright. Made it out of darkness when I saw his his light. Every single heartbeat I can feel his grace. I'm not in a rush, I'm setting my own pace. There's a fire in my soul more than just a flame. Was a slave to my mind, now I feel unchained. Now it's easier to get up every time I fall. All this love I possess, man, it conquers all. I know he got me through all of the highs and lows. Every path, every turn, every single road. I know that he there when I feel alone. Feel like I can't fail, I'll achieve my goals. There ain't a struggle I can't overcome. Even if you hate me, I still show you love. Was so anxious, confused, I was so depressed. Every breath, every step, now I feel so blessed. Darkest place, I worked so hard to beat the demons I faced. Circle getting smaller every single year. If I cut off with my friend, it might disappear. Every single day I would go and chase my vice. Now I know why God didn't take my life. Cause I got a bigger purpose and now it's clear. Exactly the reason for why I'm here. Letting go of the habits that hold me back. For my kids and my wife, now I'm right on track. I had to leave a couple people in the past who couldn't grow with me, but I'm not sad. Satan been whispering them pretty lies. I never stay down, when I fall I rise. A father, a husband, a son, and a man. All I had to do was just trust in his plan. Lately there's been a fire burning in my soul. It's taking full control. I'll never let it go. Cause life can be hard when you feel like you're all alone. Nobody there to hold, nobody there to know you. This lonely road has been so long. I forgot the feeling of love. But I'm changing now. Finally see that I'm blessed. The pain I had erased all the good. And now I'm coming back. Lately there's been a fire burning in my soul. It's taking full control. I'll never let it go. Cause life can be hard when you feel like you're all alone. Nobody there to hold, nobody there to know you, know you.
I like that song.
Me too. That's why I played
Text
it.
it. Huh?
That's why I played it.
Text it to me.
Okay. You gonna play something?
Oh, no.
Something? Gonna play something?
I was trying to write you back.
Mm.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, we only got like 10 minutes, huh?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, about 12. I got some more little shorts things.
Come do those.
All right.
Leave us with something funny.
I don't have funny, but okay.
Well, something that'll go in and out.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Of your brain.
You're so funny. Well, this isn't funny, but yeah, I'll play it anyway. Okay, where is it? Where's my numbers?
Would you know my name?
What the heck, man?
If I saw you in
This one? 1, 2, this should be, there we go, 3.
I don't know what this is, but I'm from New England, and in the northern part where I'm from, we're in this weird, rare, severe weather with tornado warnings till Thursday.
Close eye on New England today. Take a look at the map. This says everything. We do expect severe weather for this part of the country this time of year, but to get to a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk here, that's something to pay attention to.
And another weird thing is I just got off a 12-hour shift. And this is how the temperature went. It reached its hottest at 6 p.m. And I just had to pull over and make this video because look at the sun.
Wow.
I've never seen anything like it. Have you? Let me know in the comments. And stay safe. So it's the wildfires in Canada that's causing the sky in New England to turn red and yellow. Is that part of it? Absolutely. But there is another element to it. Because see, the United States isn't the only place this is happening. You got the same thing happening in China, as well as Venezuela right after the earthquakes. And there was the blood red aurora in India not too long ago. Now, what do all these things have in common? Well, we know that tonight the Northeast is supposed to break out in tornadoes.
Here, but to get to a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk here, that's something to pay attention to. With this being
And then there's China that's going through massive flooding right now.
Along with Kentucky.
India's in an extreme heat wave. And of course, Venezuela with the double earthquakes that just happened. So it seems to me that the sky turns colors and something bad happens after. But what could it be? Or is it just a coincidence? And this is the point where you gotta ask yourself, what's different? What's going on now that's never happened before? Maybe some kind of plan was set into place a long time ago by some very interesting people. And when you look at it this way, it just kind of makes sense. Now, real quick, before I go, I'm gonna contradict myself. What if this isn't actually new? It's just a new version of it. People actually witnessed it. They just had no idea what they were looking at. Have you heard the theory of how the old pictures were manipulated and the skies are all white?
There are so many photos from the past that you can see with clear alterations or whited out skies.
Were these pictures altered to hide what was going on in the sky? Or was that just the color of it after something bad happened? Let me know what y'all think. Stay safe.
What do you think?
Wildfires and the smoke causing the sky to turn different colors. That's what we're talking about. But this is a part 3, and you need to find those other 2 videos for this one to hit right. So, for the ones that did, y'all ready? To be real, everything that we have talked about and we're about to is something you should already know about. And not because you need to do the research, but because they've been telling you since June that this is exactly what was going to happen. Global wildfire risk heightened because of El Nino, which we entered 2 days ago.
Most intense in decades, threatening a dramatic increase in extreme weather. Our meteorologist Belinda Leon explains.
Super, mega, even Godzilla. Those are some of the names showing up in El Nino headlines.
And they say decades, but some people are comparing this to the El Nino of 1877.
India's monsoon failed. 58 million people starved. China, Brazil, Africa. The hunger was everywhere.
And because this is being considered such a big threat, some interesting techniques are being considered to battle it. Like a thing called cloud brightening, which is usually done on water or near the coast.
That roar is not coming from a snow machine. Instead, the plume you see are tiny aerosol particles. It's the first technology in the country to test ways to brighten clouds in an effort to cool the globe.
If you didn't know, cloud brightening is a form of a thing called geoengineering. Solar geoengineering, to be exact. That's where you use particles in the air to reflect the sunlight and cool the planet. This is another one of those projects Bill Gates wants to be a part of.
Bill Gates is backing the first high-altitude experiment of one radical climate change solution, creating a massive chemical cloud that could cool the Earth. It's called solar geoengineering, and it's highly controversial.
But of course, because it's so controversial, because you're mimicking volcanoes and smoke, it's absolutely something they're not doing. Because that's something we would notice, right? Of course that's not what they're doing. Because there would be signs, and we would see them. Now, before I go, I want to tell you something interesting that happened. In my last video, I talked about a little plan that was unfolding, and how there was some interesting people involved with it. Well, in that video, we talked about Venezuela and the earthquakes, and how the sky turned red there right after the double earthquake that happened. Well, in my comment section on IG of that video, I had a friend from Venezuela comment, and he said the colors were very intense, and yes, the reds were present before and more intense after the earthquakes. Well, you know how most bank robbers don't really tell you what they're doing? They pass you a note, so essentially you gotta figure it out on your own? Well, some interesting things have been happening in Venezuela lately, like relationships being patched after an interesting amount of time. They also have long-standing relationships with people like the Gates Foundation for refugee work. I'm sure it's just all just a big coincidence, right? Y'all stay safe.
Wow.
There's no such thing as a coincidence.
Nope, there's not.
Nope.
One of the most exciting the parasites that are out there.
Right.
That screwworm thing, something is up with that. Now come on.
Right. Right.
You know, that just didn't come. No, it didn't. It didn't just come naturally.
No.
They were that's crazy.
It's
the
not
tick
like
boxes.
right. It's not like we're a dirty country or anything.
Well, no.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're all stupid, so that's why they keep pulling this crap on us.
Yeah. Because they can.
Yep. Exactly.
She knows that her father put at least 50 to 70 bodies in that well, and she told people for 45 years. There was a problem. One of Donald's kids, named Lucy, who couldn't keep her mouth shut. See, little Lucy, dating back 45 years from now, would go to school and tell her teachers, her counselors, her principals, her priest, multiple law enforcement officers, and anybody that would listen that her daddy would kill people and make her and her brothers and sisters help him get rid of the bodies. So what would happen is she's saying her dad would wake her up or whatever, and she would have to go with her dad to help him put the bodies in the well, and he would drop a body down into that well 90 feet down, and she says her brothers and sisters would have to put dirt over the bodies that went down in the well, and grass and leaves and all of that stuff. She said that over the years that she knows that her father put at least 50 to 70 bodies in that well, and she said that the ones that she saw were all white women, all from the ages from 20s to the 30s. All of them had like brown hair, dirty blonde, like it's a darkish, they all had more darker hair, and they were all 20 to 30 except for one was a 15-year-old runaway. She said she specifically remembered her dad saying one time that the bee deserved it. Oh, this bee deserved it. Now, she would go to school and tell her teachers, and she said that her teachers told her, honey, we don't worry about family issues. You got to worry about family issues at home. The counselors, law enforcement, nobody ever listened to her. And she told people for 45 years that this was going on, and nobody would ever Listen to her. Now, Lucy is much older, and she has been actually working with the sheriff's office and the FBI. She went all the way to the FBI and has gotten them involved, and that's how we know about it in the media now. She doesn't want her name. She doesn't want fame. She's not making TikTok videos or YouTube videos, although I do wish she would, because I want to know every single detail like Lucy, girlfriend. She said the only thing that she wants, she said she wanted justice for her father, against her father growing up. She was terrified of him. He died in 2013, but what she wants is for them to dig up that well and get the bodies out and give the families closure and peace and give the women a proper burial. That's what she says. The well has years now been filled in, so there is no well there now. It's just dirt and trees covering where the well used to be. A lot of the sheriffs in this little town, I watched some videos, and I'm not going to show you the specific one because I don't know this person, but I get a feeling they're nervous because they've been ignoring this for years, and now the FBI and the public, like me and you, like now we're paying attention to this, and they can't keep brushing it off. Lucy, by the way, she has offered to take a lie detector test. They said for years, and they have it documented in the law, like the paperwork. They don't have it documented all the way back to the 70s because back then they didn't have computers, but even just years ago, they have it documented where she went into law enforcement and told them, and they never investigated it. It's not like she just come up with this story. And she went out there with the FBI and these cadaver dogs. Now, 2 cadaver dogs went out there. 2 Australian cattle dogs, Jody and Jetty. Now, this is a big area. They said that those dogs hit, meaning they hit on the scent of human remains in 4 different areas out there. And one of those spots was exactly where the well was. And one of the dogs barked at it and the other dog sat on it. Ooh, I have chills thinking about it. And the person that was over the cadaver dogs said, "Ma'am, I'm gonna tell you something. It'd be pretty unheard of for 2 of these dogs to hit on the exact same spot and for nothing to be out there." One of Lucy's sisters has said that she's lying. Said this never happened. It wasn't true. She wants her father's name cleared. He would never do anything like this, and that it's all made up. But again, Lucy's been telling people this for years. She's not trying to get fame, and she said that she would take a lie detector test. The sister that said it didn't happen says that one of her dad's wives had a baby and that it was stillborn, and they buried the baby out there in a shoebox, and that's what they think the dog is hitting on. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I think that they need to find out. I can understand if they think it's not true. They're like, man, this would be a waste of money. But at the same time, I don't know. Now, hear this to make the story even stranger. Remember how I was telling you about Donald Sturdy's 2 wives? Allegedly, they both passed away, and one passed away from strangling herself with an electrical cord. Seems a bit odd. And then the other one passed away from shooting herself. So both of his wives took their own life. Seems a bit weird. The whole story is so bizarre and strange, and I think they should dig it up. I think they should dig it up and see if there's anything down there.
What do you think, Vicki?
I think there probably a bunch of bodies down in that well.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's that many. Ugh. That would be freaky.
Quite a few folks. I don't know how you could put that many in a 90-foot well. I don't know.
Right.
I'd have to do measurements.
And then the stink, you know?
Well, he's putting dirt over him as he goes.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
That's true. Okay, I've got one more. And if Dan's in here, we'll be all done. How was that?
That was crazy.
That's either a drone or a remote control.
Right.
But I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Oh, is Dan here? Yep. Hey, Dan.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, thanks for letting me do this again. And thanks,
You
Vicki.
betcha.
Thanks, Vicki, for coming in, and thanks everyone in chat.
Now, Barb, I noticed you have a YouTube channel where we can watch a replay. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you got a link to that you can post?
I can pull it up. Hold on. View your
Now that I
chat.
have access to it, I can replay your replay.
Right, right. Okay, here we go. Copy. Yeah, Ricky
Barb's
likes...
pretty smart on this shit, if you hadn't noticed.
Say that again?
I said, you're pretty smart on this stuff if you haven't noticed.
Oh, jeez.
It's true.
Yeah. I want an ice cream cone, Pug. Now, come on. Alrighty. So that's it for us. And like I said, thanks.
All right, I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.